Hey guys, so today I'm going to be going over a quick speed painting that I did. Uh, this is simply just creating a tree, and I wanted to go through the process step by step as you can watch the speed painting happening live. So basically when I'm painting, I'm thinking about uh, a couple of things. First is going to be the simple sketch, which you're seeing now. The sketch I'm keeping loose, I'm keeping it quick and rough, and I don't want to get caught up in a bunch of time on it. So once I've got this sketch down, I'm going to shrink that layer and I'm going to start bringing out my brushes that I like to use. I really enjoy the Aaron Blaze foliage brushes, especially for things like this. So next I'm going to start getting in that silhouette. And the silhouette's important because once you have it down, you can lock in that layer and it's easy to paint over the top of it without having to worry about coloring within the lines. It basically, think of it like a bumper in bowling. You can't ever mess up because you're locked into that area. So it's always important to have that strong silhouette. That way you can lock that layer and start adding details to that specific layer. So right now you got me just kind of creating the branches, getting everything locked in and ready to go. So here's me just kind of populating the tree with more branches. Again, this is using the Aaron Blaze foliage brush set. Uh, to me, it's one of the better ones out there. Definitely worth the money if you want to invest in it. So once I got that down, now I'm going to start thinking about adding the leaves. Again, this is all to create that solid silhouette. And I'm kind of lightly tapping the brush here. That way it creates some depth with the leaves. That way your tree's not kind of like stagnant. That was me kind of adding some background to the leaves. And now I'm going to start working on the bark. So the bark is going to be same thing. I'm going to lock that layer. I'm going to add a mask layer. And I'm going to start applying the bark where you're going to see the highlights most, depend on the light source. And I put the light source in pink up in the top corner there just so you can see. That's kind of how I'm determining where the light is going to fall on my painting, right? So the top branches are going to get the most, um, and then anything behind that's going to fall into shadow, right? So we got the highlights going in right now, low lights, and now I'm starting to populate the top of the tree there with the light. And here I'm using, it's like a almost like a spotted scatter brush, and it gives a really good leafy texture. There's a few to choose from out of the foliage set. I usually like the one that's smaller because you can always increase the size versus some of the ones that start with like thicker, bigger leaves. I tend to kind of steer away from those. So now I'm just kind of coloring it in using a separate layer set to multiply, and then I'm putting the brush on overlay to help with that as well. And here, for some reason, the layers weren't functioning the way that they normally do, so you see me kind of trying to test it out and see why it's not functioning right. So I ended up just creating a new mask layer, and that's what I started working off of. Now I'm going to start thinking of my color theory, right? So the lighter portions of the tree are going to get a little bit more yellow. Um, that's where the sun's kind of directly impacting those leaves. And then as it moves to shadow, it's going to be that darker green starting to lead into like a green blue. Um, but those are definitely going to be your shadowy areas, and the highlights are going to be that lighter green. Here I'm kind of erasing a little bit just because I started getting a little too much foliage, more than I wanted. And now we're adding shadows and cleaning up that one layer that kind of got funky. Um, Still not exactly sure what happened to it, but uh, either way, you can always fix things digitally. So if it's not working the way you expect it to, just create a new layer and start painting over the top of that. And again, I'm going with more orangey browns for the highlights, and then for the lowlights, we're leaning towards, the darker reddish browns. And I want to make sure that I'm keeping in mind where that light source is coming from. So that backside of the tree is going to stay in shadow while the tops of the tree get brighter based off of wherever the sun's at. So I'm trying to think of like sunlight peering through. That's why I'm highlighting those specific points on the branch. And here I'm kind of darkening up those shadows. So next I'm going to just start adding in some grass. I start with just kind of like a base layer, and then I work on top of it from there. So I start with just a base color, and then I start adding in different levels and layers, shadows, different plants. Aaron has a great setup as far as brushes to do different plant textures and shapes, flowers, anything like that, kind of all layers in. So after that, it's just continuing to work and update and using the same skills that you developed throughout the whole painting. And here's the final project. It just light source from the top coming down and the texturing throughout the branches and the trees, and it gives it that realistic feel.